Mommy
So,
G.O., we agree with you.
Come on.
I mean, I think I mentioned the other time that religion is part of the protected
Definitely.
characteristics,
Definitely.
and we are allowed to, freely,
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
share about that. So,
That's right.
and I think for Mrs. Hope is part of the reason that might account for how she was able to handle it. Somebody that is not of faith might not have handled it that same way. They might just fall flat like a pack of cards. The same, something not even as much as that. But
I don't think it was with faith Hope handled it too.
You can't say precisely.
Can you lend your voice?
It's not faith, too.
I know what
My
I'm
sister,
saying.
sorry to disappoint
Exactly.
you. They have
Why
nothing
did you
to
bring
do.
that in? Has been persistent on this our session. She's always been here, so I know the frame of my I know, and that's why I said. And that was why I was saying that as much as I appreciate, as personally, I'm a Christian. Christ is the center of my world. As much as I agree with that, and I'm nothing without him, we also need to understand that there are some people, they don't even know, they don't believe, but yet they still, in a way, cope with trauma and they come out of it. So I don't want us, as much, for me personally, I would say the best way is Christ. That's for me. But when we're talking generally, we can't say that the people that are come out of it,
expertise,
exactly, and that's why I'm saying
in faith. There are other things that might actually work, but it has to be to a certain level.
Can we ask
Basically, certain things might not even work.
Can we ask Hope how although Hope hasn't said she believes it was trauma, but how were you able to just deal with something as serious as that? Because definitely, if it was somebody else, it would have been a serious PTSD issue.
yes.
But how were you just able to snap out of it and just move on so easily, as in out of that situation, and just keep going?
It's that same resilience we spoke about earlier.
So,
And when you have two young babies and a third on the way, sometimes you just you have to keep moving on. And sometimes we go back to that saying about we don't realize how strong we are until you're pushed to the wall. So I don't know. I just don't know. I moved on, focusing on my focus, and
Honestly,
didn't have that much time to mull over what was happening. If anything, it was the people around me that were making too much noise in my ears, and that upset me more than anything, because at the end of the day, I was the vulnerable person, but nobody cared. All they cared about was a grown adult that made a choice for himself, and I'm kind of blamed for that. And I struggle with that. I struggle with that more than the fact that they actually did move. So I don't know, but I lend my voice to people with that experience to say, what, sometimes we don't have control over what other people do or the actions they take, but we have control about how we respond to those things and just move.
All right. Can I ask you another question, Hope? Can I ask you if there was a time you felt that you were you had emotional numb? Probably you didn't notice, or any time whereby you felt like you're depressed about situation, even though you moved on, you snapped out of it. Were there times that you weren't yourself and you weren't doing things that you would normally do at that time?
I'm telling you, and I say this, I don't say this because I consider myself, I have answers to every situations of life, but I think I am a strong person on a good day. I think I have a strength within me that I can't explain. That situation don't move me that much. If anything, I struggle with it is the case that I couldn't respond the way I wanted. People held me back because I would have I would have done a lot of damage. You know what I mean? I couldn't respond. So that made me more angry than the fact that I was left alone with 3 children. Sometimes we just don't have control about people's actions. So I just carried on. And not many things bother me in life, if I'm very honest. If I think my kids having easy life would bother me more than anything else. But anything I encounter, I've been able to just
deal with it.
And my dealing with it is I fight back. I address every situation. And I think another thing, with trauma is when we don't even address it, we are not fighting back. We just, we are just compliant and accept things. No, that's not me. I fight back. And I think that's where I get my strength from that. I will deal with you, if you want us to break bottle, we'll break bottle. And that's just the way I address it, because we can't be victims, and we can't just accept, somebody just getting away with murder and not respond to it. So maybe the way I cope is the fact that I address every situation and appropriately, if you ask me.
I
don't know if that makes sense.
It does. It does. Thank you very much.
Let's just go straight into how we then detach from trauma. Over to you, Tony.
Okay, so I have a few strategies in here that I want to share, and I can say that it's not limited to what I have here, and also what might work for A might not work for B, and you can also combine strategies. So it doesn't have to be one. It could be. You could combine these. So sometimes when depending on what exactly the trauma is or your reaction to that trauma, we said it could be severe, it could be mild, you don't know what it is, and there are different reactions to it. Sometimes it might just take you to just stop, take a deep breath, and then move on. You're fine from there. And that could be just too mild for somebody else. That might not solve it for someone else. Or for somebody, just pause. So for example, you're going on that stairs and your mind is like, I'm gonna fall now. I'm gonna fall. Just wait. Just calm. Just stay calm at that particular time. Take a deep breath and move on. And rather than no, I can't do this. No, let's go back. I can't do this. Some people would be like that.
Can I pause you for 1 second?
Go on.
So I used to have one client, because what you said resonates. I think he probably has had a terrible fall before. Each time he's in the bathroom, you hear, be careful. Be careful. I'm like, is that a computer? He reminds himself
to be careful.
He says it, he can say it 100 times before he leaves that bathroom. You just say, be careful. Be careful. One day I asked him, is everything okay? Why did you say that? He said he's reminding himself to be careful because he's had a terrible fall. So just like what he said, before you go ahead, in his own case, he says it out. You might just remind yourself.
And it works for him.
Then
he carries on and do that thing.
Yeah.
And some people that might not work. You say it 100 times, they still will not, lift a finger. They won't
avoidance.
Yes. Yeah. So that could work. Then building supportive relationships. Sometimes you just need a cheerleader. You need someone to cheer you on. You need someone to say, you can do it. Yeah, I understand that you've gone through this. I understand that you are afraid of what the consequences might be, or what the outcome and all of that, but you still have to try. So building that supportive community around you, or support system around you, can help you. And like we already said, It might not be one-off. It might be, consistent. Yeah. So it might just be perpetual, but at least have that positive environment around you, people that you can, trust to
Being
truly support you through that situation. They might not be there at every point in time that you are facing that trauma, but the times that they are there, they might just be able to help. So don't be in your cocoon. When you want to handle it all by yourself, it can really be overwhelming. Problem shared is what
Half solved.
So you can create routines that can bring stability. So sometimes, say for example, I want to use myself as an example of that bend and curves like that. So if I want to travel and I know that definitely there's no how that I won't find bends and curves around this area that I'm traveling on. And the irony of it is that's what my husband likes best. Oh my God, the way he does it. Even thinking of it, even if it's just for my sake, can you just slow down on this thing, please? I beg you. But I like it. That's why I like it most.
Even if he does because of you, because he wants you to like it. So
Oh yes, just for you to get out of it.
Yes.
So it might be sometimes, when we call something routine, it means it's repeated. It's
Consistent.
So what do you do when you're going?
It's consistent. Shying away from it will not solve it truly.
Definitely.
It's just for me to
Adjust.
I'm going to find bends and curves on my way. Is someone saying something?
Confronting.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm going to definitely find bends and curves on my way, and I'm going to navigate it. So we can't, because of that turn back. We just have to. So, and have to be consistent about it. I have to be consistent about it. My husband will not stop. He will just do what he needs to do. So, and after we come out of it, so are you dead now?
Ended now.
Wow.
Are you dead now? Can you see that there is really nothing to this, So yeah, that might be a flimsy example, but that might be a stronger example for you to just build routine around that thing and be consistent
To conquer it.
to conquer it. Some people, it could be any sort of hobby that you have, expressing outlets, like maybe writing. Some people let things out different ways.
Singing.
Yeah, exactly. Dancing. I've seen somebody that said, that's what I enjoy. They just want to dance.
Yeah.
You understand? At that point, they forget about every other thing.
Yes. Nothing comes to mind negative at that point.
At that point. So if you ask me, that might not be a permanent solution. So when you now stop dancing, what then happens? You can't dance for 24 hours.
There are so many other
can
things.
dance 24 hours in your mind.
Or remembering the way you danced a couple of hours ago can bring a smile or cheer to your face.
Well, so you can adapt it.
Good.
Professional support. Professional support.
Therapy.
Yes. So there are therapists that can help with this as well. I think when I was doing the mental health course, I saw something that really, really interested me. It was talking therapy. You would never have known how strong talking is. Personally, I get tired, at some point. I just zone out. But when it's on a certain level, you understand, I'm just not engaged anymore naturally. But I'm having to change that opinion now that I might need this in my life. You understand? You can never know the importance of some things. I was like, really?
Talking to the right person as well.
Is therapy. You understand?
It is.
So, and it takes
But what are you
someone that
talking
has...
to?
So, you could talk to a therapist, like we said. You could talk to the support system you have around you, as long as it's a safe space.
That's right.
As long as it's a safe space and someone who has that
Break free,
who has that attentive
listening ears. They're always willing to
listen to you. And it's a way to let out. So it's a way to, you just want to pour it out. After it, you're relieved.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're relieved and you're ready to move on to the next thing.
That's right.
You understand? There are a few other things in here. I have we talked about the connection, the social community as a safety net. The mind, and this again is linked to the spirituality at the end of the day. I'm sorry to say that again.
Don't be sorry. Just
the mind is something that is strong, that if we can reframe the narrative, that person saying to himself,
be careful,
so I've got this, oh, God is in control. You're just
be positive.
Yes. There's something that is doing to your mind to just
daily renew.
Altogether change the narrative for yourself.
Renew your mind.
Daily renewal.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that.
So
renew your mind.
It goes a long way. So there are two ways to this. It's either you embrace it or not. You understand? So what I mean by that is, it's either you say to yourself that, oh, I'm just deluding myself, and something that I can see there. Why am I telling myself that it's not there? So, and if you frame your mind to accept it that way, that is how it will be for you. But if you also frame your mind to say, though I can see you there, but you're not going to affect me. No, it's not. This is not. Just change the narrative for yourself. And you said something like, maybe I'm even going to trauma that I don't know. That's because you've not seen anything that has happened to you as being traumatic. It might be there.
And I don't want to see it.
That's been having a positive mindset.
So when I saw that, I said, yes, this would actually work for the person that would believe it. You understand? And people of the world, generally people out there would use affirmation. They will use, even in places of work, you say positive affirmation.
That's right.
Just to say this is what it is. It might not be it, but just
and
keep
it works.
and it does work. If not, they won't be stressing it. Then apart from the mind, the body in itself, which is where this nervous system is, you have to calm it. Do things that will calm your nervous system. So this could be you changing your lifestyle. This could be you taking things easy in your life. You understand? Eat less of sugar, of course, because we know that sugar would spike your hormones. It will spike it up, and there can be mood swings with sugar. So you want to do something that will calm yourself down, rather than always being on the edge all the time. Also nature therapy. Where I came from, this might not really be believable, but it could work for some people. This is where you're just seeing nature. It could be just grass, woodland, ocean, anything nature. It was created for something, so might as well just utilize it. Just seeing that serenity, seeing those things, nature could help calm yourself down as well, because we said it has to do with your nervous system. So you want something that will calm your nervous system down, not something that would trigger things for you. So we talked about the social network. Right. So it's very good for us. And now I'm taking it back to the more excellent way, which is the spiritual side of things. It's very good for us when we want to deal with our trauma, knowing fully well that it has to do with nervous system. Someone created that nervous system
exactly
to take it back to that person. So, this has happened to me. God, you know about it, and you're able to fix it. So, if you believe it, only if you believe it, and this is not being imposed on anyone, if you don't believe it, oh well and good. But if you do believe it, that somebody created this nervous system at the end of the day, and it's been tampered with by what has happened to me.
Can you please mute yourself? We're getting some feedbacks. Please. Please mute yourself. Thank you.
Right. So if you believe that somebody created the nervous system and something has happened that has impacted on that nervous system, and the person that created it might, have a spare part,
Might.
So
Does.
So it's worth having a go, asking him to replace it, sort it, fix it. You understand? So, and that's what I personally will call the more excellent way of fixing trauma.
Thank you very, 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 very much.
Thank you.
We really, really appreciate your time, and thank you for your perspective. I know, like you said there are so many other ways, but what you said, it's not limited to what you've given us.
Yeah.
So
there's a comment
good.
I think we should read out. Right.
Okay.
Oh, there's a comment.
That's correct.
Please, could you help us read it?
Oh, great.
Hope is our admin today.
Okay, quick one. It's from Corey. He says, I don't know about the spirituality of trauma, but I have had my fair share of it. Wow. I don't think only big life changes causes trauma. I agree. Even the little life event that stick for years. An experience for me was 20 years ago. I was still very little coming back from school. I can literally replay that event. I was very tired. I met a dog along the way home who apparently just gave birth. She chased me for a very long time. I was super scared. Years down the line, I am still scared. If someone walks their dog past me, my heart will skip a beat.
Wow.
The day I knew there was a problem was last few months. I was very tired from life issues and thought. I was going for a meeting, decided to take a walk. I didn't even notice this woman walking down with her dog. Usually I go a separate direction if I can, when I meet myself in that kind of situation. But this one, I was literally standing still. There was palpitations. I was sweating profusely. And the time I could move, I was moving backwards into the street away from the dog. The dog owner was shouting, "You'll get hit by a car." I couldn't just get over the fear at that time until the woman went into a different direction. I would say that's a very trauma thing. That's a very trauma thing I seem to get over. I mean, who doesn't like a dog, right? I think we get the gist of it.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. And I know that a lot of people are in that position, especially African people.
Even me, that it didn't happen to directly.
We just hear the stories and you're just running away from dogs.
It happened to my friends, my friend's younger brother. The boy actually died.
Wow.
Yes. I want my children, when they go for music class at that place where is the what's it called? The park. People walk their pets, pets, dogs around. I stay on the phone with my children. Once you see a dog, spot it from a direction, look around. Because it's something I have
So that's you transferring it onto the children
Can you
now.
imagine how bad it was? I transfer the trauma to my children. Even if they would not naturally run away from dogs, they are scared about it because I told them the full story of it. That I had someone, a boy I know. I used to know this boy. It was my friend's mom's last born. The boy just finished the primary school common entrance, waiting to get to the secondary school during Christmas season. And the boy got beaten by a dog. He was backing with the rabies till he died.
Jesus.
Yes.
So
that's
that's really a thing.
He was.
Really?
Yes.
Because
They
I
gave him anti-rabies, and
wow.
how do if I am not affected directly, just hearing it, knowing the person that happened to.
A secondary.
So what about the family
Secondary trauma.
that it happened to?
Oh, okay. Affecting her is secondary because she witnessed it. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, can that lady or the woman, have they tried the breathing exercise rather than?
She's online.
If Corey's there, Corey's, are you there?
So while we are waiting for her, somebody said something about anxiety. Maybe the anxiety made her remember the incident. And I'm thinking, is there something about anxiety and trauma? Do they go hand in hand?
It is a response of the signs and symptoms of trauma.
Okay.
It is.
And then the fact that we pass it on to our children, because for me as well, swimming, not that I've ever drowned, but I feel like I passed on that fear of swimming onto my children. So is this something you pass on to your children unknowingly?
Yes, that's what we just said now.
Secondary trauma. Wasn't that what you said? Yeah.
It can be passed down. Yes. My personal experience, I'd pass it down to my children. Like having the fear of dogs, not even wanting to be in the same space or even sight a dog from a distance.
Yeah. When I gained admission into the uni years back, I remember my mom telling me that so person died from diving into swimming pool. So
they hit their head.
I beg. I don't even want to share the story. And that I beg you, as you're leaving home and going to school now, please stay away from anything.
Swimming.
Yeah, swimming. She was like literally begging me seriously that please. Up to today, I have that. It just got stuck, and not that I didn't. Of course, I made attempts. When you
made attempt to swim.
Yeah.
After that serious warning,
I made several attempts, but I never could.
You couldn't get it out of you.
Yeah.
Now you're telling me why you wouldn't accompany me when I said we should be going for X. I would.
Each time I get into the pool, I wouldn't move. Even I had floater on myself. I cannot move an inch.
So what about your children? Did you pass it to them as well?
No, she couldn't.
So what I then did to the children was from early, they need to, because I can't allow them to pass through what I've passed through, because at the end of the day, it's a life skill. It's not even luxury.
Yes. That people
So
who died
I have already been, and that's another way of handling trauma. You just accept, you don't accept the defeat. Like, I cannot even
deal with
it.
No, except I want to die.
Exactly. So going back to the lady that shared her experience. I just wanted to advise that when she's confronted with that, if you can just take a pause, give yourself breathing space, and because if you are able to do it once, eventually you want to try it again. All I did was just stop, breathe, and nothing happened. The dog didn't come close to me. Even if the dog comes close,
it has happened to me.
Yeah, some dogs are like that. They would even
I was just screaming I stood there. I was on the floor. I was just screaming to the owner of the dog can you please get a hold of your dog? And then here she goes, it's not gonna harm you. I said, I know, I just don't want to have a feel of a dog around. I was standing, even the dog, big, huge, was just coming around. I stood there, I was almost passing out, but I was still shouting because I can't imagine that dog coming on me or even touching me or even, well, it was just hovering around me. Well, at that time, I knew I could still say hello to a dog without having the fear of. So it's correct if you can just try, Coris, to practice having a breather.
Yeah.
You know, so I was imagining that what if this now. So I want to learn to be a friend rather than.
So
fearful.
with you overcoming it that day, and the dog did not do anything at the end of the day, you know, you would want to have it go another time.
Yeah, that's why I said. Then he encouraged me to want to just at a glance or a little.
So what if it's I don't know, what if it's reoccurring, like, so unlike the one time it happened, so you're in a situation, you're in a space where whatever traumatizes you is ongoing, how then do you deal with that?
Like you're still seeing the dog all the time,
Or like maybe not a dog, maybe just a different scenario, as against having a one-time you know,
occurrence.
and then she's had it the one time and it's lived with her for 20 years. I'm saying that you're in a space, maybe abuse, maybe, you know, whatever it is, and it's ongoing, so it's not stopping. How do you detach yourself?
So
you remove yourself from that space?
you know, at the beginning we said something about, first of all, identifying.
If you
So as that person identified that
I'm
this
just saying,
thing is traumatizing me,
they have.
so there's I don't think one would know that something is traumatizing them
want to engage
and
in
still
it.
So first remove yourself.
from that situation,
Okay.
if possible.
And you know that a lot of the times it might not be as easy, you know, as just taking yourself off. So I'm just, you know, throwing it out there. Nobody has asked, but it's just something that came to mind.
Yeah, if possible, it would be best for you to detach yourself from that
If you're unable to, how do you
situation.
manage
If you're
till
unable
you're able
to, you know, we said there are other things. Maybe
Okay.
keep maybe the talking therapy.
about it.
Yeah, have a good support system around you.
Then maybe
And
eventually-
again, I have to be apologetic about it, saying again that
Pray.
Don't be.
you
Take
have
it to
to
God.
pray about this. This has to stop. This is a situation where I'm not able to remove myself, and this is traumatizing me. It has to stop. So you might need a divine power in that situation. You understand? Something came to my mind, and it just slipped away again now. And it's really pertinent to this. Oh yes, I wanted to talk about the advice childhood experiences. Yeah, and the reason I want to chip that in is because we mentioned our children when we're talking about swimming now. We don't want to create situations for our children where later in life they too will be having to deal with trauma. Of course, some things are natural. So when we talk about advanced childhood experiences, it could be war, children that have gone through war, you know, when they were little, or abuse or things like that. There are many experiences like that, but there are some that is within our control that we do not want to. Prevention is just better than cure.
That's right.
You understand? So we don't want them to go through certain experiences that later in the life they will be having to deal with the trauma effect of it. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. In fact, as you were talking, a question came to mind, but I know that our time is fast spent, and we might have some people online in our community that still want to quickly say one or two things before we wrap up for the day. Anybody? The thing is, I don't have the device, so I can't really read through what is going on in the chat box. Is there anything in the chat box? Oh, our admin for today, please. Is there anything in the chat box?
Nothing. I was dropping a chat to say I have to rush off now. Thanks for an amazing session once again.
Thank
you very
all.
much.
It's very much.
Thanks to the speaker and everybody that contributed.
Thank you, Miss Hope.
Can I quickly say something to Coris before we wrap up? As our guest speaker was saying something about divine power, and I want you to just pay attention to intentionality, wanting to get rid of something. wanting to ensure that you stop, you put a stop to something, not having to face the fear only when it occurs. Because if you don't have an encounter with a dog, you might not remember at that time. It's only when you have. So if you want to take time at a given time to think about the effects, how it happened before having another encounter with a dog, you might want to have prepared your thoughts, your mind towards putting a stop to it. And anytime it happens again, that's you getting ready, being intentional about putting a stop to it. The mind is very, very powerful.
Yeah.
So you can prepare your mind towards even something that has not happened, as if though it's going to face you right now, and you're going to face it and tell yourself, this is the way I want to deal with it. So look for a way you want to deal with it and tell yourself intentionally, this has to stop. And now it must stop. And you would see yourself gradually. It didn't just happen now, it happened years ago, but you see yourself coming out of it gradually, slowly, and you're going to win and conquer the situation.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate every one of you that has joined us on Break Free today. Our first year anniversary. In fact, we should have put dancing in our program. What do you think?
Don't worry, we're coming up with so many surprises that will make it so interesting next time.
So before you guys go away, we'll talk about our sponsor once more. But then we also want to plead with everybody, our community, sponsor us, please, because we want to keep having our Break Free sessions like this. This way we're able to put it on YouTube, put it on different social networks, and we are able to get to a lot more people.
That's right.
And we need your sponsor.
We need you.
Please, it doesn't matter, whatever it is, no matter how little it is, we would appreciate it.
That's right.
So if you're interested in sponsoring us, get in touch with us and we'll hook you up. Also, our community, please, let's grow this community. Tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody. Let's get it bigger, let's make it better. And then on that community group on WhatsApp, let's make it more engaging.
Yeah.
Exactly. Let's talk about different things. Let's bring on
something
ideas.
up. Yes,
different
bring
things.
something up.
Let's make it a better place for everybody. Because let's not forget what Break Free is about. We're here to hold each other's hands.
Yes.
We're here to support one another. And so if you're supporting the group as well, you're supporting yourself. So let's please.
Don't forget, it's always the last Saturday of every month. So even if you don't get an alert or get a notification in time, just put it in your diary.
At 2 p.m. UK time.
You want to have a time for Break Free, and always make sure you don't join alone. Invite any young person, any lady, any adults that you know might benefit from this community. It's Break Free time, 2 p.m. every last Saturday of every.
Let me talk about our sponsor.
Again, go.
Tama's Restaurant, 12 Spray Street, Woolwich. It's just behind the DLR station. They make African food, drinks, everything, and they have social events, I think, every Friday. So it's a place you want to be to unwind. At this point, I think, do we still have anything we want to say?
We just want to once again say thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Thank you.
It was so beautiful.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
We
Thank you for having me.
And we look forward to having you another time if we invite you.
It would also be a
I'm
pleasure.
sure our viewers and all the Break Free community are so happy and pleased to have you. And
anybody wants to say anything to our guest
today?
Come on.
Does anybody have anything to say to our guest?
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you so much. So have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.